Why are the Kushite pharaohs so rarely discussed? What can we learn from these forgotten Egyptian rulers? For centuries, their contributions have been overshadowed. It's time to reveal their true legacy. Who were the Black Pharaohs of Egypt and why were they forgotten? Most people associate ancient Egypt with pharaohs like Tutankhamun, Ramses, and Cleopatra. But did you know that for nearly a century, Egypt was ruled by powerful Black Pharaohs from the Kingdom of Kush? These kings, known as the 25th Dynasty, reshaped Egyptian culture, restored its temples, and defended the land from foreign invaders. Despite their incredible influence, their legacy is often overlooked or dismissed in mainstream history. Western historians have long favored narratives that disconnect Africa from its rich and complex civilizations, leaving the Kushite pharaohs in the shadows of history. These rulers weren't outsiders. They saw themselves as the true heirs of Egypt's past glories. By reviving ancient traditions and expanding their empire, they played a crucial role in shaping Egypt's final golden age. So why has their story been buried for so long? And what can we learn from these powerful Black Pharaohs who once ruled the most famous civilization on Earth? Let's get to the truth. How did the Kingdom of Kush rise to power? The Kingdom of Kush, located in present-day Sudan, was a major African civilization that thrived alongside Egypt. While Egypt saw Kush as a rival, the two civilizations were deeply connected through trade, warfare, and cultural exchange. For centuries, Egypt dominated Kush, but around 1100 BCE, Egypt's power declined. This allowed Kush to grow into a wealthy and powerful kingdom. By the 8th century BCE, Kush had become the dominant force in the region. They had a strong military combined with an economy fueled by gold, ivory, and iron. Kushite rulers adopted many aspects of Egyptian culture, including hieroglyphic writing, pyramid building, and religious beliefs. They saw themselves as rightful successors to Egypt's legacy and sought to restore its former greatness. This ambition set the stage for the rise of the Black Pharaohs, who would soon march north to take control of the Egyptian throne. How did the Kushite kings become rulers of Egypt? By the 8th century BCE, Egypt was in chaos, divided between warring factions. The once mighty empire had fractured, leaving it vulnerable to outside forces. Seeing an opportunity to restore order, the Kushite king Piye launched a campaign to reunify Egypt under his rule. Piye's military strategy was brilliant. His army of Kushite warriors and Egyptian allies swept through the Nile Valley, defeating rival rulers one by one. His most famous victory was at Thebes, where he took control of Egypt's religious and political heartland. Instead of simply conquering and destroying, Piye presented himself as a liberator who was restoring Egypt's former glory. He respected Egyptian traditions, honored the gods, and rebuilt temples, earning him widespread support. By the time his campaign ended, Piye declared himself Pharaoh of Egypt, marking the beginning of the 25th Dynasty, a rule that would see some of the most remarkable leaders in Egyptian history. Which Kushite pharaohs left the greatest impact on Egypt? The Kushite dynasty produced several legendary rulers, but these four stand out for their extraordinary achievements. Piye ruled from 747 to 716 BCE and was the first Kushite ruler of Egypt. He reunited the country and set the foundation for his successors. Shabaka ruled from 716 to 702 BCE. He strengthened Egypt's economy, improved infrastructure, and preserved one of the most important religious texts, the Shabaka stone. Taharqa ruled from 690 to 664 BCE. He is often considered the most powerful of the Black Pharaohs. He led massive construction projects, including the expansion of the Temple of Karnak, and also fought against the Assyrians, defending Egypt from foreign invasion. Tutankhamun ruled from 664 to 653 BCE. As the last major ruler of the dynasty, he tried to reclaim lost territories, but ultimately lost Egypt to the Assyrians, ending Kushite rule. These rulers weren't just military conquerors. They were builders, scholars, and defenders of Egypt's cultural and spiritual traditions. What caused the fall of the Black Pharaohs? The Kushite dynasty was powerful but faced relentless challenges. Their biggest enemy was the Assyrian Empire, a warlike civilization that sought to expand into Egypt. The Assyrians were one of the most advanced military forces of their time. They used iron weapons, siege warfare, and brutal tactics to dominate the region. By the 7th century BCE, the Assyrians launched multiple invasions, pushing the Kushites south. Under Taharqa, the Kushites managed to hold off several attacks, but by the time of Tutankhamun, the pressure was too great. The Assyrians captured Memphis, Egypt's capital, and forced the Kushites to retreat to Nubia. Although the Kushites lost Egypt, they continued ruling in Nubia for nearly 1,000 years. Their kingdom thrived, and they built more pyramids than the Egyptians, proving that their legacy was far from over. These pyramids, located in Meroe, serve as a testament to their enduring power and cultural influence. While their rule in Egypt ended, their influence remained strong, shaping future Egyptian culture and politics. Many Egyptian traditions, including temple building and religious practices, were preserved thanks to their efforts. This should have ensured that the Kushite legacy would never disappear. Why don't we hear about the Kushite pharaohs in mainstream history? For centuries, historians and archaeologists downplayed the role of African civilizations. They often portrayed Egypt as separate from the rest of Africa. Eurocentric biases led to the erasure of the Kushite pharaohs from many historical accounts. Many early scholars refused to acknowledge that black African rulers could have controlled Egypt, even when clear evidence existed. Colonial-era narratives further reinforced the idea that advanced civilizations only emerged outside of Africa. Today, modern archaeology is challenging these misconceptions. New research and excavations in Sudan are revealing more about the Kingdom of Kush, proving that it was one of the most powerful and sophisticated civilizations of the ancient world. The Black Pharaohs' legacy is finally being restored, and it's time for their story to be recognized on the world stage. What lasting cultural contributions did the Kushite pharaohs make to Egypt? The Kushite rulers saw themselves as restorers of Egyptian tradition, reviving religious practices that had declined. They invested heavily in rebuilding temples, preserving ancient texts, and promoting the worship of Egypt's gods. One of their most significant contributions was expanding the Temple of Karnak, a major religious site. Taharqa in particular built massive pillars and statues, reinforcing the temple's role as the heart of Egyptian spirituality. Kushite rulers also encouraged artistic and architectural advancements, blending Nubian and Egyptian styles. They left behind intricate carvings, grand statues, and new interpretations of traditional Egyptian iconography. Even after their dynasty ended, many of their cultural and religious reforms continued. These reforms influenced later Egyptian rulers and preserved the identity of the Egyptian civilization. What can we learn from the forgotten Black Pharaohs of Egypt? The story of the Kushite pharaohs challenges traditional narratives about power, race, and African history. These rulers were not outsiders or invaders. They were protectors of Egypt's culture, builders of temples, and defenders of a civilization they considered their own. Their reign proves that Africa was home to multiple advanced civilizations, with each influencing the other through trade, conquest, and shared traditions. The Kingdom of Kush was not a footnote in history, it was a dominant force that shaped the course of ancient Egypt and beyond. For centuries, their contributions were downplayed or ignored, but modern archaeology and research are finally bringing their legacy to light. As we uncover more about these forgotten kings, we must also question how many other powerful African civilizations have been erased from history. History is written by the victors, but now we have the power to rewrite it with the truth. Will you help share the untold story of the Black Pharaohs? What do you think about the story of the Black Pharaohs? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you love history and never want to miss our deep dives into the past. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.